Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man. My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's a name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts. Shout out to everybody out there on Team Banky Pound, man. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support, man. All of you people, man, who watch this 33 years of prison stories, I love you. I appreciate you. Everybody who watched my travel from prison to prison to prison, and y'all had enough patience to sit there and watch that series, I appreciate you. I wanted to give y'all a taste of what it was like to go from prison to prison to prison, to be moved around so much as I was, and to give y'all a little, you know, insight on what it was like with me landing in each one of these spots and going through some of the things I went through. But, you know, it was a lot more details within each and every one of those stops. And those are the 33 years of prison stories, which I'm going to get back to now and get back into some of these different characters and different people that I met along my travels. But I just want to let y'all know I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I appreciate the support. TBB salute. All the people who left a comment, all the people who made or shared the video, all the people who, you know, liked the video. I appreciate you, each and every one of y'all. I would hope that y'all would share these videos, like these videos, comment, and we can, you know, build this platform up even bigger so we can get this positive message out to as many people as possible. Excuse me, that is my ultimate goal. So y'all help me, man. We're going to try to push in 2022. This is why I try to bring y'all content each and every day, if possible, man, just to keep this message going, to keep this positive energy flowing. So that's what we're going to try to do, man. Shout out to No Jumper Adam 22. If you have not seen that interview, please go watch that interview. Leave a comment. Let them know that TBP is in the house, that we support, and spread the word so other people can go watch it. Share the video if you can on Facebook or whatever platform that you choose. But share the video so the video can get some more traction, so we can be able to get on larger platforms and spread our energy even more so around the world and get this message out. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate the help, the love, the support, and we're going to keep it rolling in 2022. No matter what happened, we're going to get it done by any means necessary. So, with that being said, we'll get back into these stories. This one right here, like I say, I always tell stories based upon, you know, my memory, what comes up in my memory. And most of the time, what comes up in my memory comes up by way of conversation of people in my everyday life. They ask me about what's going on in prison. They ask me about a certain situation or whatever. And it just brings up something in my memory and we talk about it. So recently, you know, as you can tell, I was talking about this. So I decided to bring it to y'all. I bring the conversations that I have to y'all and share them with y'all as well. Because as I told y'all, TBP, we family. So whatever I talk about, we going to talk about. But this subject right here is it's a touchy subject, but it's reality. You know, it's a reality subject. You know, even from the time that I was in the jail, man, for as far as I can remember, I could always remember, you know, being in the jail dudes, even starting in the jail dudes, you know, you locked up, you're away from everything you love, everybody you love. And, you know, of course, if you're a male, you know, red-blooded American, then probably the main thing that you're going to be missing is, you know, the comfort of a woman. You know, the company of a woman, the touch, the smell, the sound, the softness, all of that is taken away from you when you're incarcerated. So young fellas, if that is something that you like, that is something that you enjoy, then you need to stay out of prison and you need to stay out of jail, because that's gone once you get in there. So when you in that situation, you know, the longer you're in that situation, the greater that, you know, need, that you know, want is placed upon you, man. You know, you feel more urges and more need to, you know, have female companionship because you're away from it. So when you start seeing these female nurses and these female COs and stuff, you know, it stirs something up in you and you start looking at them a little different. And since the beginning of the time I was locked up in the jail, dudes always shoot their shot. They always, going and trying to, get a female nurse, trying to talk to a female CO. And what we call shooting their shot, they going at them. They trying to, pull one of them, what you would say, as in to get one of them to like them or start a relationship up with them, or just to even talk to them to get that female companionship that you desire so much when you locked up. And it's a crazy dynamic, man. There's a lot of hypocrisy in it as well, because dudes will always say, the police is against us, we're against the police. But when it comes to a female, it's like they look past the uniform. They look beyond the uniform because it's a female a lot of times. Not all the time, but a lot of times. So, like I said, it's always been a part of prison, and I'm sure it's a part of prisons and jails all over the country, everywhere, no matter where you go, because that's just human nature. A man wants a woman. So when you are without that, that's a need, that's a void that needs to be filled. So, like I said, I can remember, man, just in the jail, dudes used to be getting at the women. But when I first got locked up, I was already married. So, I had my wife. So, I stayed away from that. My urge was to talk to her, to be in contact with her all the time, to, get on the phone, to write letters and do stuff like that. And that causes problems within itself, because you have that need so much and you want to stay so much in contact with them that you usually end up getting in beefs over the phone, because you try to handle the phone as much as possible. I wanted to be on the phone all day. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be on the phone all day. And then, like I say, prison also brings that thing out of you that you don't miss your water till your well run dry. You don't realize how important a woman is in your life, or the woman is in your life, until you are taken away from them. And then you're wondering what they're doing, who they're doing, if they're doing, when they're doing, where they're doing. All of this stuff goes on in your head, and it'll drive you crazy if you let it. Trust me, I know. But, that's just a part of doing time. That's a part that you don't even want to ever have to deal with. So, like I say, you don't want to get incarcerated, because this will be a big part of your life. So, like I say, I remember when I got into prison, and when I first get into prison and everything, I see the females, on most institutions, it's going to be just as many females on there as it is men. Just as many females as it is men. But at the same time, they try to train them females. They try to, put that philosophy in their head, don't mess with no inmates, don't talk to them, don't get comfortable with them. They not human, they subhuman. You got to look down on them. You got to treat them this type of way in order for them to respect you. And then you have women in there that they take to that philosophy. They take to that philosophy. So they come in with attitudes. They come in talking hard. They come in, with a mean look on their face. They talking to you. They acting all mean and nasty. But then a CO would walk up to them, and they would just change their whole aura about their face. They'd go from a frown to a smile, like, yeah, how you doing? Da, 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 da. Woo, woo. So you can see that. So in some ways, that be building up resentment in you. That be building up, this wall with you, where you do look at them like a police. And for me, it was like that for a long time. That's the way I looked at them. If they had the uniform on, I just looked at them like, they the police, no matter what, they're against me. So, I know it's push come to shove, I'm going to be the one thrown under the bus. So I stayed away from them, And, even from the jail part too, probably all the way, even when I first got into prison, I could tell where I see certain females that looked at me and felt like they might have, felt attraction towards me or whatever, or they might have been a little nice to me, might have been flirting with me or whatever. But I was the one that had the stone face on. I was the one that had the standoffish, keep it professional type of thing, because like I say, I didn't trust them whatsoever, And not until I started seeing, dudes actually getting involved with COs, actually, having relationships with COs. It starts off, when you see a dude, he's always talking to that certain CO. Every time she come on shift, he's the one that's talking to her. Or like when we got a booth, he's the one always up at the booth. People coming back and forth to the booth to get request forms, back and forth to the booth to ask the person to open their door, because the person in the control booth opens and closes your doors. it would always be the same dude up there talking to a female, which always was a telltale sign that maybe they had something going on, maybe she liked him, maybe not, but that was always a telltale sign. And a dude would know that, but at the same time, his urge to be talking to her, his urge to get her attention and to be, you know, in the proximity that she was in was greater than the risk of people, you know, finding out what they was doing and eventually putting a stop to it before it gets started, or putting a stop to it after it was already started. It would overwhelm you because, like I say, the desire and the urge would override rationale, would override common sense. You know, that if you were to get into something with a female, you would have to do the best, you know, you could to keep that under wraps, the best you could to keep it from everybody else. Because trust and believe me, dudes in prison, dudes in prison talk more than a gossip columnist, man. They talk, and then they talk so much, and some of them feel so comfortable with COs, like even the male COs, they would talk certain things, and they would tell a male CO, and the male CO would then in turn, he would be jealous himself because he might want the CO on the street. It might have shot his shot at work and got turned down. So just the thought of him knowing that she might be messing with a convict, oh man, he'll go tell it. He'll go tell it just to show us, I don't know what, just to show us grits his grosses. He'll sneak behind her back and you know, drop that in the watch commander's ear or the major's ear or something like that. And once they find that out, you know, they on you. They watching you, or they might move her just in case they don't know or can't figure it out. They might move her to the whole other side of the yard and then watch your moves to see if you try to get moved, see if you try to get locked up, see if you try to get in the same place. And if that be the case, then they might just open up an investigation on the whole thing. But like I've told y'all in previous videos, man, one of the hardest things in the world to do that I found out, man, was to get a CO fired. They have some of the best job security in the world. They actually got to get caught red-handed doing something wrong before they can actually get fired. You know what I'm saying? Word of mouth ain't gonna cut it. Word of mouth will get them under investigation. Word of mouth will get them suspended. Word of mouth will get them this, that. But it really won't get them fired unless they can actually prove that they broke the law. You know what I'm saying? Or that they broke the code or conduct of an officer. If they can't prove that, and they never gonna take the convict's word. Only time they gonna take the convict's word is if the convict is talking against her. You know, it's just like that in the courtroom. When you go to court and somebody trying to testify against you, or you trying to testify on your own behalf, they'll say, "Oh no, you a convicted felon. No, your word ain't no good." Da 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 da. But if a convict come in the courtroom and testify against you, then his word is golden. They just ignore the fact that he's a convicted convict, he's a convicted liar, but if he's testifying against you and it can help the state case, then, you know, he Mr. Rogers. You see what I'm saying? So it's a crazy dynamic and a whole lot of hypocrisy that goes on when you're dealing with these type of things, man. But like I say, the cat and mouse race between convict and female CO never stops. It never stops. It goes on everywhere, every compound, every block. It's always a dude that think, I can get her, or, you know, and in the female side, they have total power. They got total control. You know, having a prison job, whether you're a male or a female, period, is a job to me akin to no other. Because of the simple fact that what other job did you know that you could go on where you are not the owner, the boss, the manager, but you're actually the boss? That is the case when you're a CO. They have to answer to the sergeant, the lieutenant, the captain, the major, the warden, the assistant warden. Everybody is above them. They're at the lowest level. So they have to take all of these different orders on their job, but in turn, they give orders to every inmate. You see what I'm saying? So they are a boss. It's the only job that you go on automatically that you're a boss. A CO is a boss. They have many and several bosses, but they are the boss over you. That's just how insignificant your life is when you're locked up. You see what I'm saying? They could just get the job, never worked in institution in their life. First day on the job, they automatically can tell you what to do. They automatically can call the shots on you. They automatically can ruin your day, your life, and everything else just by word of mouth. That's how much power they have over you, whereas they have no power over anybody else above them or at their job, period, besides controlling you. Amazing, you know what I'm saying? Amazing, but true. And they take cold advantage of that just like anybody else would on any other job did. If their boss was hounding them or their boss got them in a bad mood, things they couldn't say to their boss, ways that they couldn't react to their boss, they would take it out on you because you was the scapegoat, you know what I'm saying? You was the cannon fodder. You was the one that they can give all of that frustration to, all of that irritation to. So you subject to all of that when you know, incarcerated. And also too, it plays effect in trying to deal with a CO. She can like you and you may not even return that feeling. You may not reciprocate that. So then in turn now she got a dislike for you. And with that dislike for you, it all depends on how she want to carry it. She can have you in the trick bag with the snap of her fingers. Yeah, the snap of her fingers, she can, you know, say you said this, say you did that. And that's it for you. You know, you through. So in a lot of ways, you have to appease them, if nothing else, or at the minimum, at least get along with them. Whether they like you or not, you have to all be some type of cordial to them because they always have the power to turn against you just by word of mouth. And don't think that, no, I don't know where they get this concept from because they work there. They're going to be so professional. They wouldn't lie on you. They would, man, that is so much balaki, whatever word you want to call it, baloney, that it's just false. It's pure falsehood. They do what they want and say what they want based on emotions, based on their own feelings. If they don't like you, they'll lie on you in a minute. You know what I'm saying? In one split second, I've seen it happen. I've had it happen to me. I've seen it happen to several other people. So that's just reality. But like I say, you can never win because whatever they say is going to carry so much weight over whatever you say. So like I say, it's a tricky situation, but it goes on every day in prison, man. It never stops. I've seen dudes get to fighting over women that neither one of them can have. I've seen dudes get the pulling the Bethlehem out and going at each other over a woman that goes home to her husband every night and just comes in every day and flirts with these dudes and get them in an uproar, get them false hope or false belief that they can be with her or this, that, and the third. And it causes mass chaos in there. Mass chaos. And let alone when a woman come in there to look halfway attractive because, you know, no disrespect intended, but it ain't a whole lot of them in prison. I can tell you that right now. It ain't a whole lot of men in prison since this you know, really attractive or whatnot. But at the same time, it happens like that all the time because they got this thing in penitentiary too. They call penitentiary eyes. They like you can look at a woman today and you can find her, I mean, like zero attraction. Zero. I'm talking about zero. You can look at her and she has nothing to offer you in the sense of attraction. But they say yeah, you say that now, and then you look at that same woman 5 years later after you'd have been in there 5 years without a woman, and you look at her, you trying to find anything you could possibly find is attractive about her, man. I've heard some of the craziest things said or some of the craziest jokes made about those type of things. Like, yeah, she ain't got nothing, man. She ain't got nothing attractive. And you see the same dude, you ask him that 5 years later, he look at the same woman and say, well, she got some nice shoes, man. She got I mean, you know, it's called penitentiary eyes, man, because like I say, when you've been deprived of something so long, then you try to find anything to try to satisfy your need, man, or to satisfy, you know, the desire that you have to be around a female, man. And I've seen it all, and it's just a crazy thing. But I've seen dudes, you know, go into that water, man, and, you know, get caught up out there with a female CO. And it all starts off small, you know, it starts off talking, it starts off conversating, and then next thing you know, they're talking more and more every day. They're talking all the time. And then once you break the law, what we call breaking the law, you know, the cardinal sin where you be able to touch them or they touch you, or y'all exchange a hug, y'all exchange a kiss, or more frequently, y'all exchange letters. If you write her a letter, which we call a kite, if you write her a kite, fold it all up real small or something, give it to her, and then she take that and she don't go turn that in to the police and get you locked up for fraternizing with an officer or anything like that. If she don't turn you in, then you good. You know that, you know, she got some type of life for you. But even more so if she taking that kite and she writes you back. right? So now she's broken the law. She has already went outside her job. That alone could get her fired if proven. So once she has made that move, she's basically committed herself to saying that she willing to break the law for you and with you. So you take that, man, and once a dude got that locked in, then his whole mindset changed, because now he start getting possessive. If he see you talking up there with her too long, he got some type of attitude, he got some type of feeling, because he know that he's got into her, he's cut into her, so he don't want nobody else to cut into her. Because when you can pull a female officer on the inside, it's like one in a million. You got her, but on this block is 83 other dudes. So you're saying to yourself that she wants you over 83 other dudes, so what makes you so special? So you're feeling like in some type of way, some type of insecurity, like if she like me, she could possibly like someone else. So he try to, ward everybody else off away from her, which would always be a telltale sign that they got something going on. But that, like I say, that goes on all the time, and 9 times out of 10, the longer I was in prison, the easier it was for me to see it. I could always tell when a dude was messing with a female officer by the way he moved, by the things he did when she was on shift, and by the way she acted and the way she gave him attention. No matter how hard they try to hide it, I could always see it, And like I said, I've seen a lot of them over the years, a lot of them. And you'd be surprised at the length that some women would go to. Some women would get to the point where, she'll bring them drugs, or she'll bring them, personal food. She'll cook homemade food. All of this is possible when she has the job that she has. It's a way that she could get it done because she knows the system. She knows what goes on when she come in and out, how they're going to shake her down, how they're going to deal with her. So she knows what she can get in there and what she can't get in there. She knows the lay of the land, so to speak. So it's an easy thing for her if she play her position and do the things she's supposed to do. It can go on for a long time. I've seen dudes literally, I've seen dudes have relationships with female CO in there for years. I'm talking about all the way to the point where they was actually, having relations. She was doing any and everything she could for him. I mean, with so many ways they could call on the phone, even on the regular phone. She get another number. He called it, never mentioned prisons. It's just so many ways. But I've seen dudes have, believe it or not, I've seen dudes have babies with female COs. I've seen female COs come to work actually pregnant, and no one knows but the people who do know that the baby is actually a dude that's incarcerated. He's right here with us. I've seen women have multiple babies by dudes that was incarcerated. I know one in particular dude, he had 3 babies by the same female working on the same institution over a course of probably like 6.5 years. Yeah, true story, And no one was the wiser. People figured, people had an idea, but no one could really put it together. You see what I'm saying? Until the whole gig was up, But that was over 6 years or something, So like I say, it's possible to happen in there, especially when you're dealing with women that's in position and they know how to use the position that they're in. Because like I say, you actually have to get caught red-handed to get that job, taken away from you in the DOC. That's how much they're in need of officers. That's how much they're in need of people, the bodies to be in there to make sure that these institutions stay open. So like I said, it's a crazy, crazy thing, man. But it's a dangerous thing because like I say, you're always going to be at the mercy of that officer. Because you could be in that relationship with her, and if she turn around and get mad, or you turn around and don't want to be with her no more, she can scream anything she wants, from harassment to rape to threatening bodily harm to assault. Anything she says, you in a trick bag that you can't come up out of. So it's just a dangerous thing to get into. And that was one of the reasons that I was always really nervous to get into those relationships. Even when I had separated from my wife, even when I was at times where I wasn't seeing nobody else, I still was always a little leery about those things, man. But like I say, as time go on, the need for female companionship gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and all of us gonna, succumb to some type of pressure, one day when the pressure gets too deep. But like I say, I've seen all of those type of relationships. I've been around people. I can even remember people coming in there to work, females that I actually knew. I can remember at one point in time, two different females, two different females working around me that I actually knew on the streets, in the outside world before I got incarcerated. And these two particular females, not at the same time, but at different times, but these two particular females, I had actually had sexual relationships with them before on the street, but now they're working here as an officer. I can remember running into the first one that I ran into, and just watching her demeanor and me acting like I didn't know her, but I can remember her catching my eye and looking at me and knowing that she knew who I was. It was someone that I knew since we were kids. So I knew for a fact she knew exactly who I was, but I can remember the awkwardness of the way she looked at me, the way she was like in awe, like there go Banky, and I can remember looking at her like, wow, and it was a crazy, crazy feeling. It was like we knew each other, but we didn't know each other, and we knew we couldn't actually say nothing because you don't really supposed to be around somebody like that. If they found out that I actually knew her, let alone how well I knew her, then they would move me. They would inconvenience my life, not hers. You see what I'm saying? So I can remember when that first happened, and I also remember that they ended up putting her, because when you first start, you be a trainee, and they put you in different spots to train in different areas to learn different parts of the prison. I can remember when they put that particular officer in my block, the block that I was actually housed in, and when they came in there, they was training in the booth. So when they actually was in the booth, I was actually in the shower when they came in as a trainee to go inside to train in the booth with the officer that was already in there. I was actually in the shower. I had just finished working out. So I'm in the shower now, man. I told you, these people, the way the prison is set up, from the booth, you can actually see in the shower. You know what I'm saying? We have no privacy whatsoever. Showers, using the restroom in your cell, you have no privacy. They always got access to you. I tell you, when you're locked up, you're incarcerated, your life is not your own. Privacy is the least thing you're gonna have. All decisions are already made for you. You're living by other people's rules. You're living by other people's standards. That's just how it is. That's why I try to tell you, young fellas, if you're free, you winning. Trust me, you winning. So I'm in the shower and I'm actually getting ready to get out. So I'm actually drying off and stuff. And I can remember seeing them come in the booth, and I could see they was bringing a trainee in, and she actually came in there with another trainee. So they was in the booth and with the woman that was running the booth, so they could work behind her that day and learn how to work the booth and how to operate the buttons or whatnot or whatnot. So I can remember looking in there, seeing them, and I'm drying off, and I can remember they looking around, and I can remember her looking up and seeing me in the shower, and she was more or less like, and she just was in the trance. She just kept watching me, and I'm looking, and I'm just like, boom, that's such. So I'm drying off and everything, and then when I get out of the shower, I come out of the shower, I go to my cell, I can see her eyes follow me all the way to my cell. So it was a real awkward moment, man. It was crazy to me. And when they ended up coming up on the floor, it came around, I was ending up talking to them. I called them by their last name, whatever, CO such, acting like I didn't know them. They was acting like they didn't know me. And it was just crazy dynamics, man. But I just bring that up just to say, these are all the things that you're going to go through when you're in prison. And I just remember that was just being crazy. Actually having to act like I don't know somebody that I know, let alone somebody that I had knew in the past intimately. So it was just a crazy dynamic. And I think it was more crazy for her because of the position that she was in. But once she had got established and everything, she actually had came around and started talking to me, asking me questions, because I had been gone at this time for so long and I hadn't seen this person in, decade, so it was like, oh yeah, well, somebody told me you was locked up here, woo. And I could look at her and tell then that if I really wanted to pursue something like that, which at the time I didn't, and that would have probably been the best person to do it with, because I probably could have trusted them more so than anyone else. But I really didn't want to do that neither, because like I say, that uniform got in the way, and I was like, well, now you're a part of the system. You know what I'm saying? Will you trick me up? Will you, I didn't know. So it was just crazy, man. But that person ended up being a good friend to me, you know what I'm saying, was all right with me, and they didn't do anything that was detrimental to me. And like I said, had I pursued something different, I'm quite sure I could have, you know, made something jump off. And it ain't like I didn't want to because of manly desires, but at the same time, I was more conflicted and confused at what it would cost me, you know, if I got caught, which was crazy because, you know, you're already in prison, you're already doing, you know, I'm doing an astronomical amount of time, you know what I'm saying? So if anything is worth risking, it is, you know, being able to, you know, do what you can do when you can do it. But man, you know, it's just that they would try to crucify you when they catch you involved with a female CO, man, and let alone what they do to her. They try to embarrass her, they try to walk off the compound in handcuffs, do all this other stuff, try to prosecute her, you know, because they be trying to send a message to the rest of the institution and the rest of the females on the institution that if you betray this bond, this union, this alliance that we got here, then we gonna prosecute you at the fullest extent of the law. And man, it don't work though, because they be getting caught and they be going through it and they be doing what they do. And you know, once a woman like a dude, or once she got it in her mind that that's what she gonna do, it ain't nothing gonna stop her, not even the threat of prosecution. That's just what I have seen over the years with, you know, through experience, you know, because I've seen a lot of them get caught and walked off, from bringing in drugs to having sex to having relationships to getting caught talking to them on the phone to everything you think, getting caught in the room with them, everything. And to speak of the other female that was there that I ended up knowing, that I knew on the street, that I had actually had some experience with on the street, man, she came up in there and I remember meeting her and running into her or whatnot and, you know, having conversations with her or whatever. And she didn't work on my side, but she had actually came over there on her lunch break just to see me because she heard I was over there. And she came to see me and we talked and had conversations or whatever. She told me she had been there for close to a year now. And I had never seen her. I just had heard she was working up there. But she had came over there or whatnot, but she was working on the other side of the yard. And the craziest thing about that is, man, I can remember, you know, talking to her and just kicking it with her or whatnot, and we just talking about people that we knew, what they was doing out on the street, this, that, and the third. And she went back to the side that she was actually working on. And I can remember, man, it was like a year later, maybe a year later, and I could remember hearing, oh man, this CO on the other side, female CO, she got caught over there having sex with an inmate, and man, she had sex with a man, and she's so bold, she done went up in the cell and had sex with the dude, and she done fell asleep in the dude's bed, and the people that came around and caught her in the bed. And I said, what? And all of it, to my bewilderment, it was her. Yeah, that was crazy. I was like, what? Yeah, man, it's the female that I knew from the street. She had got a job there. She was working there. She was working on the other side of the yard. She had been there for a while. She ended up being on the other side of the yard, and she was got involved with an inmate over there. And see, one thing about that, when them females get involved with an inmate over there, especially if they get deep into it and they all into it, they all in, they will have other females that work with them that they cool with, and that female might work the booth, and while she working the booth, she'll cover for the other female. So the other female might dip off in this cell or something when everybody go out for lunch or everybody go out for rec, and the female in the booth can open and close the door so she's secure. If somebody else is trying to come in the building, a supervisor or whatever, she can, you know, forewarn her. She can open the door, she can rattle the door or something to give her enough time to get herself together before she let the other people in, because they can't get in without the person in the booth. So it was like a little safe formula that they would get together, man. And most of the time, the female in the booth might have had somebody that she liked, and it would be going on back and forth like that. But you'll get dudes that be so jealous, and they'll end up telling it. They'll drop that word to the administration, so then the administration is looking for it, and they try to find ways to get it. They might come in through the back door where they use keys or whatever if they know something is going on, and try to catch that person in the act. And, you know, because like I say, they need actual proof. They can't just go off of word of mouth, no matter who it come from. They can confront you, but if they confront you, more or less, they're putting you on point that you're being watched. So whatever you're doing, you can just start doing it more cautiously. So they don't usually try to do that. They usually try to catch you in the act so they can really have a leg to stand on. But man, I was just totally shocked, man, when this person that I knew from the street, I knew her family, I knew her brother, you know, and she had got over there, got caught up with the dude and said they had supposed to be in a relationship for a while, a couple of months, and she had been sneaking in and out of his cell, you know, having sex with him, doing whatever they do in there. And, you know, she was in love with the dude and, you know, I guess vice versa. But, man, she had got so comfortable, she went over there one time and went in the cell with him and actually had sex with him and actually fell asleep. And I don't know what the person in the booth was doing. To my understanding, the person in the booth got relieved. Somebody came to relieve them to give them a break. So there's a different person in the booth, and somebody had told them that they was in the cell together. That officer called the administration. They came over there, went to the cell. She up in the cell, laid up under this dude, you know, like they at home in the bed or something, man. And they caught her, man, fired her, and walked her off there, handcuffs and everything, locked the dude up, give you charges or whatever, ship you off to another institution and try to prosecute her. Since I've been home, I never even checked, you know, to find out if she ever got prosecuted, whatever happened to her. That's always the narrative that they gonna give you. The female officer got prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, this, that, and the third. Whether it be true or not, we never really know. But that be the narrative that they spread all over the compound because they want to deter other female officers for doing the same thing. You know, it's like a humiliation tactic or whatever. But yeah, I actually knew that female, and I actually knew her well. And, you know, it just, I can't even really say it really surprised me because, like I say, I knew her, but it just was something that I was like, wow. You know, and even when I called home on the street, you know, people had knew about it. Man, I heard such and such got caught up in there. I said, I don't know. I just, you know, I heard things in here too, but I can't say confirm it or know if it was actually her. I just heard it was her or whatever, but it was her. You know what I'm saying? But it was crazy. So, you know, like I say, things like that go on, man, because these females, you have some females that come in there with the entire agenda of just finding a dude, you know, because they've had so much bad luck on the street, so much disappointment in dudes. I think in their philosophy, they feel like if they come into prison and they find a dude and they treat him good, show him some love, show him some concern at the lowest point of his life, that he feels like he you know, he can trust her, he's indebted to her, and he will be sincere to her. I think a lot of them have that philosophy, and in a lot of ways it's true, because like I say, at that point in time in your life, you're at the lowest point of your life. In my opinion, you're at the lowest stage of your life on earth above ground that you will ever be, because you are without your freedom, you are without your liberation. So people show you love at that point in time in your life, you really feel endeared to them and, you know, indebted to them because of the love that they've shown you. You feel a sense of loyalty to them. So in that aspect, but I say I can't speak for every man. I know that that's how I feel, you know. But yeah, you have women that come in there with that agenda alone, man. I can remember a female came in there. She was a nurse, and she was a Caucasian nurse. And the rumor was, and she was a little older, maybe, you know, older than me at the time of my bid. Maybe at that time she might have been, you know, close to 50, if not 50. And I heard that her family was rich. You know, her family was affluent. They had a lot of money, a lot of influence out here in Virginia. You know, her siblings or some was even like the mayor of their county and all of the stuff that they had going on. But she was an RN, so she came in there as a nurse. But she came in there, man, and she came in there flirting with every dude that you could possibly think of, man. She was flirting with them. You know, I told y'all about the way that, you know, the gunning game going there, the dudes masturbate and they get females that will watch. You got females that don't play. You got females that do play. You got females that request it. And I heard that she was one of those type of women that she would, you know, always get around the dudes and let them, you know, masturbate. Dudes that was working in the kitchen, they said when she came in there on breaks, her lunch breaks or whatnot, and go in there to get food and stuff, she would flirt with the inmates that worked in the kitchen and all of this and all of that. But then there's this one in particular dude that I knew real well. He ended up getting her, you know. He ended up getting her, and this was the most unlikely dude that you can even imagine. And he just was, you know, unlikely. This was just like an unlikely couple if you look at it from sight, you know. But she ended up liking him. He ended up liking her. She quit her job immediately. You know, she quit her job immediately, you know, started corresponding with him. And usually when that happens, they would not let you come back on that institution to visit that inmate because you work there, you know, the infrastructure of the prison, you know how it goes, and you could tell him things that could possibly aid and abet him in escaping or whatever. So they would usually move that dude, you know, because you have to jump through a whole lot of hurdles and a whole lot of loops to be able to come see that person. You have to wait a certain amount of time that you won't work in there, like 6 months. If that person was still on the institution, you could request to come see him. All of this and all of that. But I can remember, yeah, they got together, man, and she started liking him and whatever. She quit. She started writing him. She tried to come see him. They wouldn't let her. They found out that she was trying to come see him, so they assumed that something was going on while she was there. They ended up moving him. I can remember being moved years later, and I went on another institution, and I was there with him, went in the visiting room, seeing him and her in the visiting room together. They had actually got married. It was crazy, man, because I can remember her being the nurse. They had got married. She had, like I said, her family had a little power, a little influence. And like I say, with a little power, a little influence, and a little money, you can make things happen, especially if you've been in the prison for a while. You know, and next thing you know, man, this dude had been in the prison for a while. At that time, longer than I had been in prison. And he got out. I remember they getting him out. You know, I don't know how they got him out, but they ended up getting him out. He got out, you know, he was married to, I heard he moved to where she was or whatever, and they started a family. You know, some of them work out like that. You know, but I say that to say she came in that prison with the agenda to find a man. And she found one that worked for her, that suited her agenda, what she needed in her life at that time. And, you know, like I say, it happens like that. And I've seen it over and over again, man. But these dudes, they will get obsessed with these women. And some dudes will, you know, they will not know how to hold water. They will not know how to keep it to themselves. A lot of these things get blowed up because the dude talk too much. He get to telling people, oh, I mess with such, oh, yeah, that's my girl or whatever. Or we got this going on. I guess it's because it's a combination of things. He's so happy to have a female, you know, companionship, but also he feels the need to brag because, you know, he got a female CO. So that right there alone, you know, loose lips sink ships, man. And that always be the downfall of the situation. Because like I say, it don't take but so many people that you can say it to before it get to somebody who gonna be jealous, and they gonna put that word in the administration ear. And once the administration get word of it, the game is over. They coming to find out or whatever, you know. I remember another dude, he was in the block with me, man, and this was this woman that came to work there. She was an older woman as well, maybe in her mid-40s, and she started liking this dude, unlikely dude, young dude, probably about 29. And when you look at him, I felt like this woman right here she was a very, very attractive woman, man. Very attractive, older, you know, distinguished woman. She didn't even fit in the mold of being a CO. But like I say, she came there with that agenda. And for whatever reason, this dude, he worked on the shift that she worked on. He worked that night shift, the same shift that she did. So when you are in that, you know, working like that, you have more time and more opportunity to talk with her, to get more familiar with her, to get, you know, comfortable with her. And I guess that's what happened between both of them. And he ended up, you know, being in a relationship with her, but he was calling her on the wall phone, which they monitor, but he was calling another number, but they was talking so much that someone put it in their ear and they started listening to those conversations. And they, you know, got out of those conversations that he was talking to her, whether that was her number or not. You know, they saying the voice match, things that they had said that they could, you know, match it up. Well, they ended up finding her. They ended up locking him up. And he ended up going to another institution, and she ended up coming to the other institution to see him. And they ended up, you know, being in a relationship and ended up getting married as well. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't. But one of the main things that usually mess the situation up, whereas to if a female do genuinely like a convict and he really trying to get with her, is that they be so scared and so worried because you have some of these dudes, which we call, or I call, cold, uncut Bammers, you know, they would get with a female CEO or whatever, for whatever reason she liked him and he liked her. They would even be pursuing her. And then if they do get through, they would usually try to get her to bring in drugs or bring in contraband or do this or do that, because that was their agenda. You see what I'm saying? And for whatever reason, the female liked him, but that was their agenda, to be able to get things in there that they couldn't have, opposed to getting that relationship, getting that connection with a female. So that be their angle at what they going at, and that was this dude's angle. And you have dudes like that, and they'll do that, and then once they get in, and then they be doing what they doing and making money and doing what they doing, and then they get caught. When they get caught, they tell on the female. You see what I'm saying? They're cardinal sin. They tell on the female. Why would you tell on someone that's helping you, regardless of the situation, that she's an officer? Dudes will try to justify, so when she a CO, she bringing me in and stuff, you know what I'm saying? They gonna do this to me, give me some more time to me. They tell me if I tell on her, I'm good, and I don't feel like it's telling, because I'm telling on the officer. Telling is telling, you know what I'm saying? Telling is telling, and not only is it an officer, but you telling on somebody that was actually helping you. Regardless of what their status is, they helping you in the situation that you're in. But you had dudes that would do that, man. I knew this one cat, man, this dude, man. I don't know what he was telling these women. I don't know how, but I have never been on an institution with him. I've been on four different institutions with him. 4. And on every institution I was on with him, he pulled a female. Be it a female officer or a female nurse or a female counselor, he ended up getting a female. I don't know, like I say, he must have had a good game, a good rap game or whatever, but he ended up getting a female every institution I was on. But also, every institution I was on that he ended up getting a female, he ended up getting caught, because he always had them bringing in drugs. He always had them bringing in some type of contraband. Then when he got caught, he would always make a deal with them to tell on the CO who bought him the drugs and the contraband. And once he got caught and told them that, they want the CO more than they want him, because they always rationalize like, well, he locked up, he doing time anyway. Only thing we can do is give him more time, which is not a lot when you get caught with drugs in there. It's not a lot of time. It ain't like you're getting caught with no kilos or nothing. So what they would do is, they would always make a deal. Okay, well, we'll ship you to another institution. You just tell us who brought it to you, and we're going to deal with them. And they would try to make an example out of the CO. So he would tell on the CO every time, and just get moved to another institution and do the same thing. And it would just always amaze me, because it seemed like that would be in his record, and once it's in his record, they would spread that over the compound, or these COs would know, don't mess with him. But man, it ain't work for him. He pulled a woman everywhere he went and did the same thing every time, man. And it was just, I don't know what he had game. That's the best I can tell you, man. He had game. He talked his talk and he got through to all of them, but he always crossed them all. But like I say, you have dudes like that will always make the females be scared about messing with a dude, even if they like the dude, because they always figured that, they would end up like that. And some of them, like I say, didn't mind, because they came there to find a man. But at the same time, they didn't want to get in trouble where they would have a street case on them, or they would have to go to court or things like that, or get fired. They would rather, come in there and find the dude that they wanted to be with, create a relationship with him, see how he was or whatever, and then just quit the job on their own, and then let everything else they pursue to happen. One of my best friends out here today on the street, man, he met his wife and been with her now for 13 years. He met her in there as a nurse, and they did nothing. They had no sexual relations, no nothing. They just had conversation, and they bonded, and they established a relationship. She left the job, went somewhere else because she felt feelings for him. She told him if he was serious about being with her, he would, quit the job that he was doing and go ahead and check in and go to jail, and stayed in jail till he got transferred. He did that, got transferred, went to another institution. She started coming and see him. When she started coming and see him, they, bonded, got married. She rode it out with him for some more years and years and years till he made parole. He made parole, been out here on the streets now for about 4 years, and they've been all together for 13 years, happily married and living their life and, doing their thing. So like I said, it does work out sometime, but not all the time. More often it don't work out than it do. And, a lot of the reason be because either she or he is playing games, or either both. You know, so it's a crazy dynamic, man. But it goes on every day in prison, man. And that dude right there, like I said, he stayed getting a woman and he stayed telling on them, and they stayed keep on trying him and giving him shots. Yeah, he kept getting shots, man. So I don't know if he's still locked up or not. You know, I don't want to call his name because I don't want to blow him up. But he knows if he out here and he watching this, he know who I'm talking about. And most dudes that was locked up with me know who I'm talking about. But like I said, it's just so many different dynamics to this, man. You have women that come in there too, and they be just so loose, man. I've known women that came in there that multiple dudes have had sexual relations with them because that's all they want. You know, that's all they want. And they would take them chances until they get caught. And when they get caught, they would, you know, walk on up out of there as if nothing had happened. You know, not even that they was looking for a relationship. They was just looking for that, you know, sexual companionship, you know, with dudes that was incarcerated. I've seen females that come there and get caught having sexual relations with other officers. You know, I've been on institutions like that where 2 officers got caught having sex, you know, with one female officer in the stairway while we was locked in doing count. You know, they got caught having sexual relations while we was locked up doing count. They got caught from the camera. You know, we in there doing count and they in the hallway, you know, doing they freak nasty. You know, having a threesome and whatnot. So it goes down in there more often than people hear about because, excuse me, they try to keep those things under wrap, you know. They don't want those type of things to get out to the public, but you'd be surprised at the things that goes on in there and behind them walls, man. And especially when dealing with females, because like I say, just imagine the layout. You in there with 1,000 dudes, sexually frustrated, no female companionship, but you got these females walking around here all day, more females than males, wearing clothes, you know, this fit like leggings, you know, talking, smelling like perfume, wearing lipstick, fingernails, all of this stuff, and they expect you not to say nothing to them, not to be attracted, not to be aroused, not to be, you know, drawn to that type of stuff when you're denied all of that because you don't see any other females but them, you know. So it's a crazy thing, man. It's a crazy thing. You have to really, like I say, be into yourself and understand where you at and what's going on, not to get really caught up. And more dudes get caught up than not, believe me. Like I say, fights break out, you know, beefs break out. Dudes actually be beefing. I've seen dudes, excuse me, I've seen dudes beefing with dudes over a female when her actual husband worked there. Her husband is actually working there too. He's an officer and he's beefing with her. I can remember the first female that I knew. I think I spoke on her before. First female that I knew, man. Shout out to Derek S. if he watching this, because he was on Mecklenburg. He know what I'm talking about. The first female that I can remember, man, that had just like multiple dudes, man, just in love with her and infatuated with her. Probably because she was unique as far as in a penitentiary, because she actually had a magnificent body. She was a nice looking woman. She was very flirtatious, but her husband actually worked at the institution as well. But she flirted with multiple dudes, man, had multiple dudes in physical altercations, had dudes get stabbed, had dudes get their cells set on fire, you know, all of jealousy over her. And she ain't want nobody. She just loved to flirt, loved to antagonize dudes, loved to arouse dudes and stuff like that, because her husband actually worked on the institution, you know, and she did it a lot, man. And I seen a lot of dudes get messed up and get in the trick bag messing with her. You see what I'm saying? Because like I say, ultimately the female has all the power. She has all the power because of the position that she's in, and it's a superior position than the one that you're in. You know, no matter what, even the ones that come there that are, for lack of a word, unattractive, they get more attention in the prison than they would get on anywhere else on the planet, because of the way of the dynamics, the way that dudes are, the way that dudes are pressed for a woman. You know, like I say, he's going to find something attractive about her if in his normal sight, his normal eyesight, nothing is attractive about her. But under the conditions that he's under, he's gonna find something attractive if it ain't nothing but her niceness towards him. If it ain't nothing but her politeness, if it ain't nothing but her, her kindness, then he will find something, man, and he would, normally pursue that situation. A lot of the relationships come out of when an inmate has to work with a woman for hours on end. Usually that's not the case when you're in prison, but you have jobs that require that, like the kitchen. Dudes who work in the kitchen always get caught up with them females because it ain't nothing working in the females but kitchen. Usually the kitchen supervisor is a woman. Usually the kitchen staff is 90% women. So dudes that work over there, because you have to have convicts work over there, inmates work over there, because they have to be the ones who do all the labor work. The supervisors are females and stuff, but they only supervise. But you have a blind area where officers are not, over there like that. They're not in the freezer room. They're not in the stock room. They're not back there where they're making the food at. They're out front. So these dudes are actually back there with the females by themselves for hours and hours, 6, 7 days a week. And they form relationships because they talk, they communicate, they have to. You see what I'm saying? Because of their job and because of, the proximity. They have to. So when that happens, normally, nature takes course. People are going to be attracted to people. They can say all that they want. You have females that come in there with that type of, I don't mess with inmates. I don't even look at y'all. It don't matter to me whether you're attractive or not. It don't matter. I don't even see you like that because you locked up. You have some like that. Even though they be lying, I don't care who you are. If you are a heterosexual female and you're in a prison with 1,000 dudes, you're not going to tell me one of these dudes, not one of these dudes are attractive to you. That's impossible. You know what I'm saying? I just feel it's impossible. You know what I'm saying? It's mathematically impossible. 1,000, 0, nah, I just don't believe that. They just take upon that attitude. But in the same token, like I've said, I've seen every dynamic you can even possibly think of. I've seen some of the women that act so hard and act so mean, and then they be the ones who end up caught up in a relationship. They find somebody that they fall in love with, and they ended up getting caught up, ended up getting fired, or end up getting, kicked off the institution or whatever. I've seen dudes have relationships with female inmates, female officers, counselors, female sergeants, lieutenants, captains. I've seen dudes have relationships all the way up to where I could never really confirm or not confirm, but I know once it was assistant warden who actually liked the inmate, and if you're in that position right there, you basically can do whatever you want to do, because she can call you and put you in any position that she want to put you in where can't nobody be around but you and her. And when you actually go see the warden or the assistant warden, then you actually see them alone in their office. So is nobody going to come in their office and interrupt? There's no one's going to come in there without knocking. So whatever can happen, can happen. I've been on institution with female rec supervisors. They got their own office, and they can give you a rec job, and you can be working down there with them, and you can be, in private areas with them at times where no one can get in there, no one can be down there. So it just all depends on, who you're attracted to and who is attracted to you. Because I've seen it all transpire. And like I said, it just depends on the person. And then, like I said, you have females that will put up that facade like there's no way that they will ever mess with an officer. There's no way possible. I never do this. I never do that. But it happens. It happens a lot, and it happened everywhere I've been. I've never been on an institution in 33 years where it was not some female who got caught up with messing with an inmate or a convict. Never, ever. Even in the jail, a woman got caught in the jail when I was in the jail for messing with an inmate. She was writing him back and forth, and they found a letter. So like I said, it goes on, man. It goes on, but it's a dangerous situation. I used to try my best to stay away from it because of the simple fact, like I said, I didn't want to get caught up. I didn't want to get, in a situation where I didn't know what might happen. And it's been some females over the years that have came on to me, females that I might have thought was attractive. But at the same time, especially early in my bit, or early in my sentence, I avoided it. I was the one who shied away from it. Now, when I look back on it in retrospect and I say to myself, I could have did this, I could have did that, you know, I kind of regretted it as the years went by and the years went by, if nothing else, just for the experience. But at that time in my bit, and at that time and what I knew, the knowledge about the situation, I just felt it was more dangerous than it was worth the risk, you know. And that perspective changed as I got, you know, deeper and deeper into my bit. You know what I'm saying? It just changed because, like I say, of the frustration, of the situation, of my current state. But I also can remember this female, this one female, man. She had came in. She was a nice looking female, young. She was nice looking, but she was vicious, man. I mean vicious. When I say vicious, I mean with her mouth. She was vicious with her mouth. She was vicious with writing charges. She always talked slick. She would antagonize inmates, and everything that she did, she backed it up with writing your charge. She would cuss at you. If you cuss back, you get a charge for vulgar language. If she caught you in the wrong place, she give you a charge for being in an unauthorized area. If you said something too aggressive to her, she'll get you locked up. You're in jail. She say you threatened her. She was just mean, man. And she was, like I say, she was an attractive young girl, pretty little girl, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, she had a nasty attitude, like she just did not like people that was locked up, which is a crazy, you know, dynamic within itself. Why are you working here if you don't, are you just working here to torture dudes? Are you just working here to make dudes more miserable? Why are you working here if you have such, you know, disgust for people that's locked up? You know, so I don't know if somebody did something to one of her peoples before on the street, and she had a, you know, because people find reason to have something against you when you locked up. You know, whatever your crime may be or whoever it may have been against, it has nothing to do with them, but they just don't like you because of that. You know, so it's different things that goes on. You never know what goes on in someone's mind. You can only assume. But I just remember her, and she was just so mean, man. She wrote so many charges. In my block alone, I could think of at least 15, 20 dudes that she wrote charges on. So she had that reputation, and she had not even been there long. But I can remember, man, during this time and where I was, you know, which I won't say, but where I was, I can remember at this time, I had a cell phone, right? And so I used to be on point at all times. When I heard that side door open, I'm looking. If I heard any noise, I'm looking. I just stayed on point because I'm riding dirty. And I can remember her, she usually worked the yard, but she be put in the booth sometime to give people a break. When you take a break, whatever officer is available comes in to give you a break. By her working the yard, if the yard was full or one about on the yard, she would come in and relieve people and give them breaks. So I can remember one time seeing her come in our booth, and I heard the door open, and I'm in my cell by myself, and mind you, I got the phone, so I'm always on point. So I go look, and I see it's her in the booth. I'm like, oh no. So I'm more nervous because she in the booth, because I know she's a hawk. She looking for anything wrong so she could say something or call the people or go check on this. He doing that. Well, that's how she was. And I can remember, man, people was outside for rec, but I was in there. So when people go outside for rec, the pod usually empty. No more than about 5, 10 people stay in there. So I stay in because that was my time that I could use the phone because I could hear everything and mostly everybody was gone. So when I seen her go in the booth to give the person a break, I go look and see she in the booth. So now I ain't really worried about messing with the phone. I'm waiting for her to leave because, you know, like say she's a hoe. So, man, I'm looking out there and I can remember 2 dudes coming in, and one of these dudes slept in the block. And he came in the block with another dude that does not sleep in the block. And he went to the booth and he said something to her, and she opened the door and let him go up to his cell with the dude who don't sleep in there. Now, mind you, she's a hawk. She know everything. She knows this dude don't sleep in there. She know everybody. You know what I'm saying? By name, by where you sleep at and everything. So that struck me as super strange that she would let him come in the block, let alone go up to his cell. So he went up to his cell with that dude, and they went in the cell, closed the door, and covered the door. So I'm like, man, hold up. This is kind of strange, you know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at the situation, and it just puzzled me so much. You know, like this woman, the super cop, she's acting like this. She letting this go on. So I was like, that's interesting. You know, now, this particular dude was cool with my celly. That's his best friend, as a matter of fact. They in business together. They run parlay tickets together, gambling tickets together. So I didn't ask him because I didn't want to, tip him to, something was strange going on, or I felt like something was strange going on. But anyway, as the story goes on, when I ended up getting locked up for the phone, this is a story that I told y'all before on another one of my stories. And when I got locked up and my cellie had, told his best friend that I had the phone, and then when I ended up getting the phone back, people was calling me, asking to speak to him, so I knew he had let that dude use the phone. This was the guy. So fast forward, now I remember him calling me, and he was sending me different pictures that he was getting off of the internet and stuff, or asking me, did I check this website, this, that, and the third. We looking at, porn and all this other stuff. So he was sending me stuff while I was on the other side of the yard, which I didn't even want. I'm like, don't be sending me all this stuff, man. I got a phone, I can, but he was doing it. Do you know he messed up one night and sent me this picture, and he called me and kept texting. I didn't answer the call. He kept texting me immediately to say he sent it to the wrong person, to delete it. But I looked at the picture, and when I looked at the picture, it was a naked picture of the CO.
The banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man. My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.